Picture this, a long, straight stretch of highway under the silver glow of a midnight moon. The rhythm of the road is hypnotic, a steady hum that vibrates through the steering wheel. Your eyes feel heavy, like lead weights are pulling at your eyelids, and for a split second, the world goes dark. You tell yourself you're fine, just a little tired, but that heavy sensation isn't just exhaustion, it's a biological red flag. In the next few minutes, we are going to peel back the layers of sleep science to understand why drowsiness is one of the most underestimated killers in the modern world. This isn't just about feeling sleepy, it's about the terrifying moment your brain decides to shut down without your permission, turning a routine drive or a standard shift into a life-altering event. The phenomenon is known as microsleep. It's a brief, involuntary episode of sleep that lasts anywhere from a single second to 30 seconds. During these windows, you might look awake, your eyes might even stay open, but your brain is no longer processing sensory information. It has effectively flipped the off switch. To the person experiencing it, it feels like a momentary lapse in concentration or a sudden jump in time. But if you're traveling at 60 miles per hour, a 4-second microsleep means you've just traveled the length of a football field while essentially unconscious. The biology behind this is a desperate struggle between your homeostatic sleep drive and your circadian rhythm, a battle where your prefrontal cortex eventually loses its grip on reality. Why does our body do this? It's all about adenosine. From the moment you wake up, this chemical builds up in your brain, acting as a pressure gauge for how long you've been awake. The longer you go without rest, the higher the adenosine levels climb, creating an irresistible sleep pressure. When this pressure becomes too high, the brain's internal systems begin to malfunction. Your reaction times slow down to the level of someone who is legally intoxicated. In fact, staying awake for 18 hours straight produces a level of cognitive impairment similar to a blood alcohol concentration of 0.05%. By 24 hours, you're at the equivalent of 0.10, well over the legal limit in most places. Modern society treats sleep as a luxury or a sign of weakness, but our biology views it as a non-negotiable maintenance period. When we ignore the signs of drowsiness, the frequent yawning, the wandering thoughts, the inability to remember the last few miles driven, we are essentially forcing our nervous system into a state of emergency. The brain starts to perform local sleep, where specific regions of the brain shut down to recover, while others stay awake. This creates a fragmented state of consciousness. You might be awake enough to keep your hands on the wheel, but the part of your brain responsible for steering and braking has already gone to bed, leaving you as a passenger in your own body. The danger isn't limited to the road. In high-stakes environments like hospitals, power plants, and cockpits, drowsiness has led to some of history's greatest catastrophes. The Chernobyl disaster and the Exxon Valdez oil spill were both linked to sleep-deprived operators making critical errors in the early hours of the morning. This circadian trough, usually between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., is when our body temperature drops and our urge to sleep is at its absolute peak. Even with the brightest lights and the strongest coffee, the biological imperative to rest is a force of nature. When we fight it, we aren't just battling tiredness, we are battling millions of years of evolutionary programming designed to keep us alive. Many people believe they can power through by turning up the radio, rolling down the windows, or blasting the air conditioning. Science tells us these are myths. These tricks provide a momentary spike in adrenaline, but they do nothing to clear the adenosine from your system. Caffeine is another common tool, but it's a mask, not a cure. Caffeine works by blocking the receptors in your brain that detect adenosine. It doesn't remove the chemical, it just prevents you from feeling it. Once the caffeine wears off, all that stored up sleep pressure hits you at once, leading to a massive crash that can trigger a microsleep episode even more suddenly than before. Let's look at the physical warning signs that we often dismiss. It starts with heavy eyelids and frequent blinking. Then comes the nod, that sudden jerk of the head as your neck muscles relax and your brain snaps you back to alertness. You might find yourself staring blankly at objects without really seeing them, or experiencing a sense of irritability and frustration over minor things. These are the sirens of the central nervous system. If you find yourself having to squint to focus, or if you're drifting out of your lane, your body is no longer suggesting you sleep, it is demanding it. Ignoring these signs is like ignoring a low fuel light while driving through a desert. Environmental factors play a huge role in how quickly drowsiness takes hold. Monotony is the greatest ally of sleep. Driving on a straight, featureless highway or sitting in a quiet, dimly lit office creates a sensory vacuum that the brain tries to fill with sleep. This is why highway hypnosis is so prevalent. Your brain enters a trance-like state where you are performing complex tasks on autopilot. The danger here is that autopilot doesn't have the capacity for emergency response. If a deer jumps into the road or a car ahead slams on its brakes, your brain's autopilot lacks the cognitive speed to react, often leading to accidents where there are no skid marks because the driver never even tried to brake. So, what is the actual solution? It sounds simple, but it's the only thing that works. Sleep. If you are on the road and feel the onset of drowsiness, the only safe move is to pull over in a well-lit, populated area and take a power nap. Research suggests that a 20-minute nap can significantly restore alertness and cognitive function. Combining this with a dose of caffeine, known as a caffeine nap, can be even more effective. You drink a cup of coffee and immediately lie down for 20 minutes. Since caffeine takes about that long to enter your bloodstream, you wake up just as the stimulant kicks in, clearing the receptors while the nap cleared some of the adenosine pressure. Chronic sleep deprivation is a slow-burning fuse. Many of us live in a permanent state of sleep debt, where we consistently get 1 or 2 hours less than we need every night. Over time, this debt accumulates, and our brain's baseline for what feels normal shifts. We start to think we are functioning fine, but objective testing shows our performance is steadily declining. We become poor judges of our own impairment. This is why drowsiness is so insidious. You don't realize how far gone you are until the moment of crisis. Long-term, this leads to increased risks of heart disease, obesity, and a weakened immune system, proving that the danger of drowsiness extends far beyond the immediate risk of an accident. Culture must change if we are to combat this invisible threat. We need to stop glorifying the grind that sacrifices rest for productivity. In Japan, the concept of enemity, sleeping while present, is sometimes seen as a sign of hard work, but even there, the risks are being reevaluated. Schools and workplaces are beginning to realize that a well-rested individual is not only safer, but significantly more creative and efficient. Recognizing drowsiness in yourself and others is a skill that saves lives. It's about having the maturity to say, I am not okay to drive, or I need a break, and realizing that those 10 minutes of rest are worth more than the risk of never arriving at all. As we wrap up this exploration, remember that your brain is your most vital tool, but it is one that requires regular maintenance. Drowsiness is not a sign of boredom, it is a signal of physiological failure. The next time you feel that heavy tug at your eyelids, or that strange lapse in time while you're working or driving, don't fight it. Listen to it. Respect the power of sleep and the fragility of your own consciousness. By understanding the science of the silent alarm, you can protect yourself and those around you. Stay awake, stay alert, and most importantly, know when it's time to close your eyes. Safe travels and sleep well.